Welcome back to the series where I cover every single reason the Apple Business Manager and Intune sync can fail. In the last video, I covered reason 1, where a token was downloaded from Apple Business Manager but never uploaded to Intune. Today, I am covering reason 2, and just like reason 1, this is another situation where most admins have no idea they cause it themselves. Here is a scenario. An admin or IT staff member in your organization was the one who originally created the MDM token in Apple Business Manager and connected it to Intune. At some point, that person leaves the organization, and as part of your standard offboarding process, you go into Apple Business Manager and deactivate their account. Completely logical, completely standard, but here's what most people do not realize. When you deactivate the user in Apple Business Manager, everything associated with that user gets deactivated along with them, and that includes the token they created. Let me show you this in action. I am going to create a new token in Apple Business Manager. I will not be explaining how to create a token in this video. So if you want to understand that process, check my other videos linked in the description. If you notice, I am creating this token using a dedicated user called Intune ABM. Once the token is linked to Intune, you can see the sync is successful and everything is working perfectly. Now, let's simulate what happens when someone deactivates the Intune ABM user in Apple Business Manager for some reason. Log into ABM and deactivate the user who created the token. Let's go back to Intune and try to sync. And there is, the sync fails. Now here's the frustrating part. Intune gives you absolutely no information about why the sync is failing. And if you go into Apple Business Manager to investigate, everything looks completely normal there too. You can see the token. You can see the account. Nothing appears disabled or broken from either side, which makes this one of the hardest sync failures to diagnose. The reason this is happening is that when the Intune ABM user was deactivated, Apple Business Manager marked everything that user created as invalid, including the token, even though it still appears to be sitting there looking perfectly fine. And just like reason 1, retrying the sync will not help because the root cause is not a connection issue. It is that the token itself has been marked invalid by Apple. So the obvious first step is to go back into Apple Business Manager and reactivate the Intune ABM user. Let's do that now. Now let's go back to Intune and try the sync again. And this is where it gets really tricky. The sync still fails. Even though the user is now active again and everything in ABM looks correct, the sync is still failing. If you are an admin troubleshooting this, you would literally see everything looking perfectly fine. The user is active, the token is there, nothing appears wrong, and yet the sync keeps failing. Here's why. Reactivating the user in ABM does not automatically reactivate the token. Apple Business Manager marked that token as invalid when the user was deactivated, and simply reactivating the user does not make that token valid again. The token needs to be reuploaded into Intune to complete the fix. So go ahead and reupload the token into Intune, and then try the sync again. And just like that, it works. The sync is successful. So the full fix of the scenario is 2 steps. First, reactivate the user in Apple Business Manager, and then reupload the token into Intune. Doing just one of these 2 steps is not enough, and the better long-term solution is to always use a dedicated ABM account like Intune ABM at your organization's domain for token creation, an account that is never tied to any individual employee and never gets deactivated as part of any offboarding process. That way, no matter how many people join or leave your organization, your ABM and Intune sync will never break because of a deactivated account. Now, if you find yourself in a situation where you cannot reactivate the original user, and you also cannot create a new user in Apple Business Manager for some reason, check my next video, Reason 3, where I cover exactly what to do in that scenario. If this helped you diagnose and fix your sync failure, drop a like. It really helps the channel. And subscribe so you do not miss the next reason in the series. I will see you in the next one.